Welcome to SML Total Access, where we break down news, predictions, and more in our Madden League. Now, let's get fired up for SML football.
Hello and welcome back to SML Total Access. I'm Primetime 000, joined by Matt and Dan. What's going on, fellas?
Hey, it's good to be back.
Yeah, welcome back. Yeah, baby.
We back in it, and let's go ahead. First down, guys. Madden 24 is out. It's been out. We've almost, 3/4 of the way through the season one. What's your thoughts on Madden 24 now that we've got some games in and we're experienced Madden 24 players?
Yeah, so I don't think it's a great game. I don't even think it's a good game yet, but it's close. The things that I really like about this game, I love that the quarterbacks matter. I could honestly put that as a fault too, because they might matter too much. I love that. I think it's good when quarterback matters. I love the drops. The contested catches were way too good last year, and it's frustrating on defense when you hit a guy right when he catches a slant and he catches it every time. Love the drops. It makes the better receivers feel better. Like Cooper Kupp, guy catches everything, but he throws to anyone else on that team, talking about straw, they drop it. I love that. I feel like the tackling is much more fluid, much more fun. The bigger guys picking up and slamming them. I think the coverage isn't as bad as we think it is. I think, and I'm going to go into my bad now, there's no pass rush in this game. And the pass rush, just like the NFL, will hide all of the other faults. I watched the Rams and the Seahawks play in real life last week. The Seahawks have a good secondary. They couldn't rush the passer, and they got diced up. You can't cover forever, and I think that's why we think the coverage is so bad, because nobody gets any pressure. The pressure seems to come up the middle. I played Dexter Lawrence, Aaron Donald twice, Jonathan Allen. The pressure seems to come up the middle, not from the outsides as much. I think if they can patch that, give us contains, and I think we're going to be in a really good spot with this game.
Dan, what do you
think? Yeah, I'm with Matt as well too. I really didn't like it when it first came out. I felt like it was just super easy, especially running. Felt like you had the right back, you could do whatever you wanted. Felt like the pass rush was super inconsistent. You basically blitz, and the blitzes were obvious and stuff. So, but they made some tunes, like Madden does, kind of. They tune some things up, and they tell you half of what they tell you, and other half they don't tell you, and it's getting better. It's a little bit more consistent, and that's the one thing that I really want is consistency and balance. I want to be able to know if I call something, it might do something, but I also know what it's not going to do, and I want to be able to trust that. And so, I don't want one coverage that can just cover both the run and the pass, but I want a coverage that can stop the pass if I think they're passing. And if I think they're running, I want defense that can stop the run. But, and it's getting there. So I'm feeling better about it. I'm probably with Matt on one more patch, and it'll be good. And then they'll probably start twinking too much and ruin it, and then we'll go downhill like we always have. But overall, it's not as good as the last two gameplays, but it's getting close.
Yeah, I think the game is solid, actually. And I got a lot of negative reception early on, and probably because it was worse than last year. That said, first of all, the game's saved, which is nice, and the advances work, which is nice. But from an actual gameplay standpoint, I like that they didn't, like the big thing was quarterbacks not being able to hit the throws, the lesser quarterbacks. And EA said, hey, look, we're gonna tweak some things, and we're going to try to improve the game, but we're not going to just make a big jump. In years past, they just make a big jump. And with the quarterback thing, they said, hey, we're going to stand put with what we got, which I like. Looking at, some other things. Some open field tackling is a little rough. When guys start juking around and stuff, it can get a little dicey. Overall, I think the game's solid. I think anybody who calls the game bad or complains about how bad the game is just either a sore loser or they don't know what they talk about.
Yeah, look at their record when they say that.
Yeah, it's not a bad game. Madden gameplay-wise has been trending in a positive direction for the last few years now. When they added the abilities, the first year the game was an arcade game, They've gotten better with it. They've made abilities less effective in some aspects. Obviously, there's always gonna be a few OP ones, and people like love the OP ones, and they think certain abilities suck and shouldn't be in the game. Well, I kind of like that. Not all abilities are like superpowers, so I like where they're heading with the game. And yeah, they get this companion app out and they tweak a few more things, then I'm hyped up. Let's move on now. Second down. We AFC, it looks like it's a 3-horse race right now. Dan, Prime, and QP.
Hey, don't forget Clinky. Clinky's right there too.
Oh,
Hey, let's forget that. He's right there too.
Maybe. I thought maybe he was in Italy too. NFC. Who the heck is going to win the NFC, or who's the best in the NFC?
Yeah, that's a great question because pre start of the season, everyone talking AFC. Some of the heavyweights were in there. Obviously, some of the people that have won the most Super Bowls in SML are over there, and a little bit more of your loud kind of brash people, cocky, whatever you want to call us, are over there. But you got some quality players. You got Matt, you got Bomber, both Super Bowl winners, both right now, just rolling right now. Matt, I mean, he's won 9 straight. I mean, after that first week loss, he hasn't lost since, and he is by and far the best defensive team in the NFC, giving up the fewest amount of points. And then Bomber's 10-2 right behind him. So I think it's a 2-man race with those guys. After that, you've got Meats, you got Doink, you got guys like maybe AJ, maybe Dom, maybe Straw, but there's some questions with those guys. So I think it's going to come down to Bomber and Matt, and both are playing well. So I'm excited to kind of see how this NFC plays out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Bomber and I are the two that stand out. We have the 2 best records. I've lost 1 time. Bomber has lost twice, but he's played 1 more game. So, I mean, I think we're both looking for our signature win, though. Mine was I beat Dump, and that was good at the time because he was undefeated and he's the second best team in the game, but he's really fallen off. So that win doesn't look as sharp. Bomber's only losses are to the 2 people he's really played, Clink and QP. Close losses. The QP one not as close, but I think he lost to Clink by like 1 or 2. Would be nice to have Neon to be able to confirm that. But I look at Meats as the guy who has the chance to. If you're saying if it's not Matt and it's not Bomber, who is it? I think it's Meats. He's got the team. The Cowboys are way better than our 2 teams. He's got the quarterback. Justin Fields isn't there yet. Geno Smith will never be there. So I think Meats is the guy you got to watch out for. He can run the ball, and running is still strong in this game, especially to the outside. That's something they need to fix. And he's got the unicorn on defense with Micah, and he's got 2 acrobats. Although I'm not sure if acrobat really does anything this year. I haven't really seen it triggered all that much. But I think we're overlooking Meats just because he is on a roll offensively. He's got the team. I think it's going to be one of the 3 of us, especially with Dom on vacation and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for me, I look at it and I think it's Matt or Bomber. And D-Muse, who I had high expectations and hopes for. I know the Saints aren't great out of the box, but there's a lot of guys doing good stuff with teams that aren't great out of the box. Matt, Bomber, Prime, Dan, just to name a few. D-Muse can't run the ball. And cycles when he's been really good, he could run the ball. He's not a good runner right now. And that Saints team, which is his favorite team, he's been getting kind of smacked around a little bit. I played him, and I felt like I wasn't even playing the D-Muse of old, so I hope he can get it turned around. So to me, it's a 2-horse race between Bomber and Matt. And I think historically, or at least recently, Matt has been the better player dating back to last Madden. He's won bigger games consistently. So I'm going to go with Matt as 1A, Bomber as 1B, and that would be a hell of an NFC Championship game, Matt and Bomber. That'd be really fun to watch for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. A dark horse, if I'm to throw one up there, would be Doink, actually. I think Doink with that Falcons team, he had something going there with Drake London until he got hurt. He's got the Robinson, the running back, Desmond Ridder. He's got it superstar. Maybe not this season, and I know we're talking about this season specifically, but look long term. I want to call it now. Long term, Doink could be the guy in the NFC here on September 16th, the day before my birthday. I'm predicting Doink could change his SML legacy and become a winner in the SML playoffs. So watch out for that one.
Well, and getting Ritter to superstar on day 1 or day 2,
that's huge.
I mean, that just changed the course of his entire cycle. If Ritter was a superstar out of the box, which he basically was at that point now, that Falcons team would have gone way higher.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that was a
absolutely.
huge lucky pull.
Um, hopefully it's lucky. If not, DM me how Doink. Third down. There's somebody who has gotten lucky a few times, and he's unbeaten right now. And he's in this chat. He's in this call. Dan is unbeaten with the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team which is solid, but it's not a top team. They weren't going to go top 5 of the team selection draft. Um, Dan or Matt, let's go with you first. Will Dan go unbeaten? And what's your thoughts on Dan winning all these games right now?
Well, if everyone goes out of town like they have so far this season for him, then yeah, he will go unbeaten. But I don't think that's going to happen. So I'm looking at his schedule, right? And I'm looking at the real life schedule because I know that's accurate. We don't have Neon. He's got Monty next, and I don't care. I think Monty has like 4 or 5 wins, but I'm telling you, that guy, he can either put up 50 or give up 50 and lose by 50. I mean, Monty's a game by game kind of guy.
Yeah.
He can beat Dan. He can beat anybody. He's got Bean. We know Bean plays this game a lot. And then the big one, right? The prime time game against prime time, the Colts. That's where he loses. It's at Lucas Oil. I know Prime wants to be the guy to beat him, and he's gonna do it. And then
Yeah.
it's Dump again. He'll blow Dump out. He's got me, probably beats me, and then he's got Mike, who's kind of had a resurgence here with the win over QP. I think he's won like 3 in a row. But I think Dan drops that in Indianapolis game, and here's why. I don't think it's a knock on Dan. If you don't have a quarterback in this game, you have the chance to lose any game you play. I'm sure both of you have felt it in one way or another. Maybe not Dan in this league, but in his others. And Prime, I've watched your games, and AR is he can be a mess, and you can do everything right, and he can do everything wrong, and you have nothing you can do about it. Dan doesn't have a quarterback. He's got 2, which means you don't have 1. So he could lose any of these games with his quarterback. I don't think he does. I think he plays really well on defense. He's always a guy that controls the ball, doesn't turn it over. As long as his quarterback doesn't do it for him. I just think he loses to the Colts.
I like
Listen,
it.
listen. Okay. First of all, yeah. My schedule's been definitely weak. Definitely got some computer games, got some breakouts, but there's no way that I'm going to go undefeated because I'm going to lose to either Monty or Bean, or I'm going to lose to Matt. Those are the 3 that I'm most worried about right now, because for some reason those guys kind of give me some trouble when they shouldn't. And maybe I lose focus. Maybe I don't really play up to my game. There's no way I'm losing to Prime, though. I can guarantee that. Prime week or season 1, season 2 is not the Prime that he is come season 3 or season 4. I'll give him all the credit in the world because he picks up the game and he does well, even though he doesn't play much. But he's not there yet, and he doesn't have his team there yet. There's no way that AR is going to do anything against Watt, anything against Minka, anything against now my new superstar Highsmith, now my new superstar JPJ. There's just no way that's going to happen. So you can count that one as a win, and that's the only one I really need to win. That's all I got to do is win a beat Prime, get in his head about the. Oh wait, are we recording? Is this live? I probably shouldn't have said all that crap. No, Prime's a good player, and it's going to be a great game. I'm sure it's going to be. I'm sure it's going to be a tight game, and. Hey, I'm just glad I can be on the field with Prime. There, that's better.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I look at Dan's schedule, and I want to be the guy who knocks that O off Dan's record, but I think it happens before me. I think it'll be either Bean or Monty. Bean watches some tape. Monty watches some tape. And when Monty's hot, I think he's very similar to Dump in the aspect of when they're on, he's on, like you said, Matt. And Bean's good enough to where he can beat him too. If I play Dan, I was going to go down the same route. I mean, I'm a competitor, and I want to be the guy to knock that O off. And for him and I, that game could be the difference in the number 1 seed. If Dan wins out, then he's got the number 1 seed. If I win out after that game, then I got the number 1 seed. So that game's got big implications. He's very proud of his defense right now. His defense is like huge. It hasn't. I mean, I think he's let up like 90 less points than the next closest guy. I'm really looking forward to that game. And we'll see what happens. But I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Let me add 2 things to this. I agree 100%. Prime, the number 1 seed in the AFC is huge because every matchup in the AFC wild card game will be a tough game. There is not a single easy out. Well, I guess maybe if you get the AFC, yeah, if you end up with, but for Prime and I, we're going to win our division. We're not going to, we're not going to get a divisional game. We're not going to be a wild card, that kind of game. So it's going to be tough. If you got to play Clink, or if you have to play maybe QP, or maybe you have to even play RD. I mean, it's going to be it's going to be a tough a battle there. So that's huge. The second thing is there's something I discovered that I've been doing for the last 3 seasons that I didn't realize that I was doing. I'm not going to tell anyone what it is yet, but there's something I was doing that was handicapping me that I didn't even realize I was doing, that I just discovered 2-3 weeks ago.
Oh boy, here we go.
And if this thing keeps going in the way that I think it's going to go, it's gonna be incredible. So I'll just put that out there. Okay.
I'm glad. I'm glad you're more confident, because at the end of last cycle you were broken. You had the yips. Honestly,
I wasn't broken. I hated my team. I hated being handcuffed by a quarterback that couldn't do what I wanted him to do. And I didn't have any cap space.
You were handcuffed by a quarterback who couldn't do anything. Here's the thing. Historically I've have the head-to-head record over Dan. I beat him in the playoffs more than he's beat me in the playoffs. There's no way how he beats me. There's just no way. I just don't see it. We'll see. It's gonna be a fun game.
I want to add one last thing for me. So I've got this old clip from when I first got in the league and I was the Patriots. I took over PJ's team, and Prime was on this actual show when Tiny was on, and he said, we're talking about the playoffs, and I was going into the playoffs. He said, Matt's going to get mowed down in the playoffs. He's not a real contender. And I ended up making the Super Bowl. And I clipped that. I still have it on my phone.
I remember that.
I'll throw it in chat every once in a while. If Prime beats Dan, I'm clipping what he just said about 2 minutes ago about how he's going to roll over him, and he's not a big deal, and we're going to play it again.
It's going to be good, baby.
Flip it, baby. Flip it. Hey, Prime, go buy all your players sunglasses. Go give them hats. Go the Deion Sanders route, because it don't matter what the bulletin board says. My boys are going to show up. And Tyler Huntley has been practicing with Teddy Bridgewater. That's all I want to say. He's been practicing with Teddy Bridgewater. He knows exactly what I demand of him. He is the perfect quarterback for my system.
It's personal.
I gave Eats commentary, and I volunteer if it's at a time slot that works for me.
We'll make it work. Hey, 4th down. Enough about Dan losing. Share the love. Back to positivity. Dan, I guess it's up to you. Who are you spreading your love on?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if I can recover from that description, man. But I'm going to say nice things about people, if that's what you're asking for. And the nice thing I want to say is in the AFC East, we've got a guy that was talking retirement all summer long. Then right as we start moving into it, he's like, no, I'm coming back. And not only is he coming back, but he's coming back with a vengeance. And that's my boy Finns, my brother from up north. He is playing really, really good football. Traded away too. Everyone said, oh, he's tanking. But no, he is playing good football with Mike White, I think, is his quarterback. I don't even know who his quarterback is. He's winning games. He's on top of his division now. And a guy who, when we first introduced him to the SML, he couldn't win a divisional game. And now he is doing and winning the games he should win. Finn's playing great. Good job. Keep it up, man.
Yeah, I wonder if Finn's got any coaching from someone who's been in the Dolphins before. And he might have. Did anyone consider that maybe he meant he was retiring in real life? He's getting to be that age. We might have misunderstood what he meant.
Spread the love, man. Come on, you can't be.
I can't. My boy Finns. It's Finn's. If I see that name, I gotta throw a dig in there. I'm gonna spread my love to Terrible Two-Step. I mean, and it's not how he's playing. I mean, he's had some decent wins to start the season, but that Titans team, it's not a now team. It's a future team, right? He's got to do some work there. But for me, we got a lot of runners in this league, man. You get a lot. You saw in the team draft, Paulie, and how heartbroken. I mean, he almost started crying when Gilbert didn't go to the or when AJ took the Vikings. He almost started crying. He thought Gilbert was going to go there. We got a lot of guys that don't want to be in certain divisions, right? Terrible Two-Step at pick 26. He had the Cardinals, the Browns, the Vikings, the Bucks, the Broncos, the Rams. He had a handful of teams he could have gone to, and he said, Faz? I don't care about him. Prime? I don't care about him. RD? Never heard of him. I'm going in that division, and he did. And it's probably not a great decision in the long run, but man, he needs a wheelbarrow for those things, because not a lot of guys in this league, there might be zero that would do that other than TTS. So hats off to you, old timer. You're an SML legend, and you're a legend for that move. So that's who I'm sharing my love with.
I like to share my love with 2 people. KJ Slander and Mike. They slayed Goliath within the past week and a half. First of all, they beat QP and the Superchargers, both with lesser teams, both with limited gameplay hours. QP plays the game more. He knows the game more. He's got Justin Herbert. And somehow, some way, Mike FML and KJ Slander slayed Goliath. And in a league where people always circle wins and you expect, I mean, if there was a spread in both of those games, it's probably a 2-score spread. You know, if there was a money line, I mean, you got to bet $100 to make $5 kind of thing. And both those guys got to win over QP, who is a top 5 player, who has a top 5 team, who plays the game, who knows the game, who uses a playbook made by a guy who watches YouTube more than anybody. I mean, it is big time. What a win for both those guys, and I'm proud of them. That's my love. We'll go on to the extra point now. Matt, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I sure wish we had Neon because I could give you some better stats. But I did fire the game up, believe it or not, and just kind of took a look at some things. So at number 5, I've got Bomber. This was tough because of not who I have at number 4. But Bomber, like me, he's kind of looking for that signature win, right? He doesn't really have it. But you play who's on your schedule, and he doesn't pick who he plays. So, his losses are a close one to Clink and then the game to QP, which losing to that team, I'm not going to hold it too much against you. At number 4, I've got QP, and going back to the Bomber thing, I wanted to put Bomber over QP just because QP should technically have 3 losses. Coop was just on something, but he doesn't, and QP beat Bomber, so yeah, I couldn't justify it. But the problem with QP is Bomber's trending up, QP's trending down. He has not looked sharp, and again, you can lose any game in the SML. I don't care who it is. Everyone in here plays to win, and they're coming for you, but I don't like his recent struggles. At number 3, I've got myself. I'm also looking for that signature win. It was Dump, and then it's not Dump. I know I've got some tough ones coming up. I've got Dan. I think that's my best chance. Oh, and Meats. I've got Meats next advance, so we'll see how I do there. I've won 9 in a row. I'm feeling good. I lost a straw week 1. But as soon as I lost that game, I said I know what I need to do to beat this guy, and then I smoked him. And then at number 2, I've got Prime. Prime, I mean, guy just keeps on rolling. That team's not good. He had that early loss. I think it was to RD. I don't think it was even a pretty loss. But I'm telling you guys, RD is a really good player, and if you've been paying attention, he's really good this year. If you watch his games, he is good, and that team is not, and he's going to get better. His record is only indicative of an emergency that he had, so watch out for RD. But Prime, 2 wins over Faz. I mean, 1 loss, looking sharp, buddy. And then at number 1, it's Dan. I mean, you got to put the unbeaten guy, even if he's playing against kickers and computers and all. I mean,
Plumbers.
He's won all of his games. Yeah, exact. I mean, he won all of his games. And that division's not easy. Every team in that division is better than Dan's team. And if he can go through and finish with a sweep in that division, 6-0, I think that's really impressive. And that team's only going to get better. There's a lot of youth on that team, and Dan has gotten a 50% dev game rate. They're only going to get better. So, Dan, congratulations. You are number 1, and it is not undisputed, if you will.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you. I respect the fact that you respect the fact that I do what I have to do, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I also want to make another comment, though, real quick. I am 100% behind what you say about RD. RD is actually one of the guys I'm looking at the AFC that I would not want to lose to Prime and have to play in the wild card round against RD, because he is going to be good this Madden. So watch out for RD.
You know, his record isn't good, but he had some time off. Obviously, he had a family thing, and prayers for that. But I mean, so you look at his record and you could say, oh, yeah, he's not. But look at some of the guys he's played close. Look at some of the guys he's beat. RD's there. Dan, obviously, I agree with the list 100%. Should be number 1. He's unbeaten. He's got some decent wins. Hey, I guess 1 versus 2 coming up in a few advances. Guys, don't forget, there's a Duck Kings thing going on for to kind of celebrate Dan. It's a Duck Kings Dan thing. Make sure to check that out in the general content. I think Bean's putting something on. Guys, that is SML Total Access. We are back. We're back in black. We're happy to be here. And, hey, we'll be back next week probably for a playoff edition. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great day.